Hi everyone, I've been wanting to do a bit of a video for you to kind of tell you what's going on this month and to also prepare you for some of the transits that we're going to be working with in the coming weeks. I have posted an article about the storms that are coming in June, late month, so I'll add that link below this video. Sun has just entered Gemini, and Mars is also in Gemini right now. And then in the days to come, we'll also see Mercury moving to Gemini as well, and Mercury rules over Gemini. So that's helpful for balancing the mind and bringing a little more stability to the mental body. However, with the Sun and Mars also in Gemini, we have some heat also coming to the mind, and the fire elements are going to be heating and provoking the mental body. And later in this month, near the new moon, there will be 4 planets, including the moon, Mercury, Sun, and Mars, all in the constellation of Ardra Nakshatra. And Ardra is notorious for storms, and it's ruled by the storm god Rudra. Rudra is a destructive energy, and he brings a certain tenacity with him, especially in the emotional body. So Rudra is synonymous with big emotional upheaval, and the symbol of this constellation is a teardrop. What I'm witnessing right now with Mars already in Ardra and through the clients that are showing up right now, I'm witnessing a lot of fear rising to the surface, and at the same time the undigested grief that we've been neglecting is showing up in bigger ways. This is also because Saturn is giving his direct gaze right now to Gemini, and he will until the 21st. Hi Sarah, welcome. The Saturn influence is an important one right now because Saturn is in the gap between Sagittarius and Scorpio. And he's not even at a degree right now, so he's at literally less than a degree, 0.41, and really in the gap between these two signs, which is a particularly challenging Gandanta or gap. So right now Saturn is still in Mula Nakshatra, and this constellation is ruled by the dark goddess Nriti. And she's provoking a lot of calamity and misfortune and chaos, especially as it has to do with one's life path, soul's path, and Dharma. So Nriti is notorious for adharma, that which goes against Dharma. So this Saturn influence, which in many ways is structure and stability, is moving in reverse. And when we have a planet retrograde, it actually intensifies the meaning of the sign and the planet that is in that sign. And Saturn retrograde through this Gandanta, this challenging gap, is intensifying a lot of these themes that have to do with life purpose and path. Saturn also provokes fear and grief to rise to the surface. So this gap is sort of awakening the ability for fears and grief and parts of ourselves, our shadow, that are and have been neglected. It's as though the fabric is very thin right now. The veil is very thin, and these challenges are able to rise to the surface more easily. Now, as challenging as it feels, and as challenging as many of the experiences are right now, the positive news is that because it's rising to the surface, we can also more easily identify it and confront it, and therefore work with it, transform it, and release. What I'm seeing, though, is that a lot of people are succumbing to the fear. In this situation, the repression and the avoidance of our fear and our blockages and our grief, it's not as easy to do. It's coming to the surface very readily. And yet what we do with it when it comes to the surface is really important. It's important that we don't try to avoid it or resist it, neglect it, shove it into another dark corner, because it will only intensify. And likely what's showing up right now are pieces of our psyche and our emotional body that we've really repressed for a very long time. So we want to invite it in. We want to actually lean closer to it in constructive ways, ways that help us really identify and release the challenges and blockages that are keeping us from our soul's path. Now, later in the month, we're going to see even more intensification around these themes because of the Ardra Nakshatra influence and Saturn's focus on this part of the zodiac. And it's sort of like being in a pressure cooker. K2 also gives his gaze. So this is an important factor to recognize, because K2 brings sudden change and sudden awakenings, as well as sudden misfortune and challenges, sudden loss, release, forced release. I see K2 as a trauma point. So he brings release and loss with him, for better or for worse. And so this is going to speed up the process in some ways, and also invite in extra challenges that are very sudden. So we want to be really mindful of our self-care this month, and also go very slowly, slower than you think you need to. If you're pushing or forcing, trying to force an outcome, if you're stuck in an agenda and trying to find results and product oriented right now, there are going to be a lot of frustrations and delays. So it's just best to surrender and let go and sort of accept the timing right now, which is less is more. Once Saturn shifts to Scorpio on the 21st, there'll still be several weeks of Saturn being in the gap in this Gandanta, although Saturn will shift to the constellation of Jyeshta and will be in Scorpio. This is going to invite all of us to retrace our steps, and you may even remember what was going on for you last year at this time when Saturn was in Scorpio. A lot of undigested grief coming out to the surface. Saturn's transit through Scorpio requires us to look into our depths in a way that can be very uncomfortable. So it's a time to really gather resources and support and extra guidance, more self-care, and tools to support you through this transformation of deep, dark, heavy material. It's sort of, it's not one of the lighter transits. So we want to just really support ourselves and buffer the intensity as much as we can. It's a good time to have a Saturn yagya. Some of you may also need a Rahu and a Ketu yagya to support the transits. And I also want to encourage you to reach out to me and let's have a chat if things are intense for you right now. I offer Dharma coaching sessions for free each week to several courageous souls who are ready to step into their power more fully. So reach out to me and let's connect if you're ready for more clarity and guidance and support right now during this intense transit process. So I'll post a link to my recent article about the Ardra Nakshatra transits. I'm also going to be sharing a free class later this month, so stay tuned for the day and time. Please join my newsletter. I'll certainly post those details there, and also in the Embodied Dharma group. Ask your questions below. I'm happy to answer any questions that are showing up for you right now. And if you have your North Indian style chart available, I invite you to really look at how these transits are impacting you specifically. So pull out your chart, take a look, see where Saturn sits as it is transiting through this gap of Sagittarius and Scorpio. This is where the grief is really coming from and how it's being stirred. 7 houses away, you want to look at Gemini and see where the Mars, Sun, and Mercury conjunction in Ardra will be, and where the storm will be coming from. So this dynamic is important to look at in your chart to really identify the themes that are prevalent for you specifically. And if you have any questions about that, please reach out to me and we can certainly have a chat about it. So share your questions below. Reach out to me for a free Dharma chat if you're ready for more support and guidance right now. And ask your questions below. And I hope to see you in my free class later this month near the new moon. Be well, everyone. Be gentle with yourselves. And make sure to really resource yourself. Get extra self-care, guidance, and support. And don't resist your fear. Really look at those places where you're pretending it's not as bad as it is. Let it be what it is and get the help that you need. There's no reason to struggle and suffer and keep resisting your pain. This is a time to really help to loosen the grip of it. So it's important to work with the transformation and healing process very directly right now. All right, be well,